Here we go again, YouTube. Welcome back to Yes Chef. I'm your host, Big Chef Dro, and in this episode, as you can see, we're talking about some scallops. Oh, this? Oh, it's just my chef gear. I kind of feel like I'm in the back of the house today because we're getting so fancy schmancy up in here. So today we're going to teach you about scallops. You're going to learn how to find the best scallops. You're going to learn the best and most efficient way of cooking them, and also what tools that you need to accomplish that. So sit back, relax. It's going to be a little educational. Let's get into it. Let's cook. Okay, so to go along with the scallops, I am going to cook a Caribbean style coconut yellow rice. So here's the ingredients. So we're going to start off with, we're going to have 2 cups of yellow rice. This is already seasoned, so there's no need to add any seasoning to it. So for every 1 cup of rice, you add 2 cups of water. That's just the rule all the way across the board. So I have 2 cups of yellow rice, so I need 4 cups of water. So I'm going to do 3.5 cups of water, and then I'm going to do a half a cup of the coconut milk. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and add about 2 tablespoons of butter. And then I'm going to let this come to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, we'll be right back. All right, so this has come to a boil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add my rice. And you want to be careful when you're dealing with milk and at a boiling state, because at a boiling state, it will boil over in your pot. So whenever you're doing this, don't walk away and wait for the water to boil. You have to sit and watch it to make sure that it does not boil over. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my pineapples, and this is about 1/4 cup of pineapples. I have 1/4 cup of coconut flakes shredded, and then I have about a half of cup of orange and yellow bell peppers. You can use red, you can use green. This is all I had on hand, and I'm not leaving my house too much these days. So you just give that all a stir and make sure everything is nicely incorporated. And now you want to turn this bad boy down to low and put your little lid on it. And once it's done, we'll be right back. All right, so here we are. We have the finished product on this here. So with the milk, you're gonna have to watch it, folks. You really gonna have to watch it because you can run the risk of burning this. So I kept my eye on it. Everything is looking good on the bottom. So this is gonna be a creamy type of rice because of the milk, the coconut milk. I'm just gonna go ahead and still a taste real quick. Let me see what I'm working with here. Very good. Nice and creamy. The coconuts, the coconut milk, the pineapples, the peppers. This is going to go good with those scallops. Okay, so with the scallops, we are going to create a coconut curry sauce. It's going to consist of a lot of different ingredients. This is going to be very robust, very flavorful, a lot of notes to it. So let's get into it. So first off, I have my trusty truffle oil that I used on here. And I have about 2 tablespoons of butter, give or take. And so I'm going to use that when I start sauteing. I'll get that hot later. So we have some onions, and this is about 1/4 of a cup. And this is almost a cup. I'll say about 3/4 of a cup of peppers. I have green bell peppers. I have yellow bell peppers and orange bell peppers. And what I did was I also put a Scotch bonnet in there as well. Okay. This is a Scotch bonnet. It's very hot. So what I did was I cut it in half. I took half the seeds out, left half the seeds in because that's where all the heat is, and I chopped up the whole pepper. So moving on, I have about a teaspoon and a half of garlic, chopped fresh garlic. I have 2 tablespoons of curry. I have one tablespoon of Paul Padome's seafood seasoning, and I have a tablespoon of paprika. I have a tablespoon of honey. I have some fresh thyme sprigs, some fresh, roughly chopped Italian parsley, and then I have a half of a lemon and a half of a lime, finishing everything off with a, this is almost a cup and a half of coconut milk. And then I have a half of cup of heavy whipping cream just for the thickness. And I'm also going to be deglazing with my favorite wine to cook with, and that is a dry white wine, which is a Pinot Grigio. Nothing expensive, just cheap. This stuff is about $2. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get this pan hot. All right, so we have our oil and our butter hot. I'll go ahead, get these onions and get these peppers to going. The rest of these onions in there. And these are just regular white onions. Nothing fancy. You can use whatever type of onions. All right, so we got some color on these peppers and onions. So what we're gonna do now is we'll just go ahead and add the garlic in. And the reasoning why I'm adding the garlic in last is because garlic burns very easily. So this way, everything, if I'd had this garlic in here this long, it would have really started to burn, and that makes it bitter. So anytime you have garlic and you want to cook something else with it, always do that first and then add the garlic a little bit later. Garlic doesn't take long to release its flavors, okay? So now I'll go ahead and start adding my spices. So I'll do the curry. And that smells absolutely beautiful. I'll go ahead and add my paprika and my Paul Padome's seafood seasoning. Oh man, that has a lovely smell to it. I'll go ahead and get this honey off in there. And I don't think I'm gonna need the glaze on here. I don't think I'm gonna need the I don't think I'm gonna need to deglaze. I said glaze. I don't think I'm gonna need to deglaze. So I'll let that cook in, let these spices get in there. I think I'll just use the lemon and lime to deglaze this. So I'll go ahead and put that half of a lemon. Man, folks, I wish you could smell this right now. Half of the lime. Yeah, I think that did the job. I don't need to. use the wine, so I'll just leave that to the side. Now I'll go ahead and add these sprigs. Now, I'm gonna keep them like this, and what I will do is I'll get them out once the sauce is complete. I'll just go ahead and get those, I'll fish those out of there, because you don't wanna leave that stem in there. All right, so I'll go ahead and add my coconut milk. And I'm cooking this on medium, folks, maybe medium low. I don't really have a setting on this gas grill, on this gas burner here. Get this out of the way. Then I'll add the heavy whipping cream. So this is all pretty much incorporated. I'm just gonna turn this down and I'm just gonna let this simmer. I'm gonna let this reduce. I'm gonna let this reduce so it can get a little bit thicker, and then we will be back after that. All right, so we are at a place where we wanna be. The sauce has reduced down to a nice thick consistency. You want to stand over this and continue to stir it. You don't want to let it sit because of the dairy in it. It will scorch at the bottom. You don't want that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add some salt to taste. I've already tasted it, and so I know that it's going to need a little salt. So I got that going on. As you can see how the bottom continues to burn a lot fast, so you have to continue stirring it, folks. So I'm gonna add some coconut flakes as well. I didn't put this in the beginning, totally forgot about it, but it's here now. So that's about a 1/4 cup of coconut flakes. And this thing is coming together, folks. So we're gonna go ahead and add some chopped fresh Italian parsley to that. I hope you're paying attention to the bottom of that pan. That's why it's so important to stand over your sauces. So important to stand over them. So this has came together. All I'm gonna do now is continue to let it simmer for maybe another 45 seconds to a minute, and then I'll cut it off and I will get all of these thyme stems out of it, and we'll have ourselves a nice little sauce to go with our scallops. Okay, welcome to the star of the show, which are the scallops. Okay, so let's get educational. This is going to take a little bit, so please bear with me. So I'm going to teach you a little something. So first off, we have to figure out how to select the right scallops in order to cook. First and foremost, there are two types of scallops. There's base scallop, and then there's a sea scallop. Some are called diver scallops because they're hand got. There are people that dive down and get them by hand. So these are sea scallops. Now, the base scallops are really small. Sea scallops are a lot bigger. So when it comes to a scallop, all right, you have a small side and you have a bigger side. The bigger side is the one that is presented, meaning this is the one that's seared the best, and this is the one that you see when it comes on a plate in a restaurant. All right. Now, when it comes to the way scallops are shipped out, there are wet scallops and there are dry scallops. These happen to be dry scallops. I don't buy wet scallops. If you buy wet scallops, when you go to sear them, you will not get a good sear. Why? Because there's a lot of chemicals that they put in the scallop in order to preserve it and put it on the shelves in order for it to stay there. Now, if there are chemicals in your scallops that they use to preserve it, the government says that they have to let the consumer know that they are wet scallops. So if you go to buy scallops, you have to look at the package. The package will say wet on it. If the word wet is not on it, that means it's a dry scallop. And the grocers cannot trick you. They have to, but they're mandated by the government to put the word wet on the scallops if they are treated with some sort of preservatives or chemicals that they use to preserve the scallop. So these are dry scallops. I got them from the fresh market. And one thing to know that you have a really good scallop is that when you buy it, that little piece right there is on it. Okay. These haven't been treated. These haven't been in a factory or anything. These came straight from the sea. Okay. But this is not a good thing to eat. So what you want to do is you just want to take that off and just discard that. That does you no good. Okay. So a couple of these, this one's already came off of that one, I think, or one of them. No, this one still has one on there. So I'll take that off. I'll take that little piece off there. Now, you have to ensure that your scallops are nice and dry. If your scallops have any type of water on them, believe me, they're not going to sear properly. And that's what you're looking for in a scallop. You're looking for that nice sear. That presentation is everything when it comes to scallops. Okay. So I have them dried out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the smaller side up so that I can get the presentation side on the pan first. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to season them, and then we'll go on to the next step. All we want to do is we just want to put some salt on these bad boys. All right. Then go with the pepper. And this is all you want to do with scallops. This is it. You don't want to put anything, you don't want to add anything to the mix. All right. So this is the small side. The small side is going to not be seen. So what I like to do, I like to make sure that the small side is up. So now when I turn this over, I don't have to worry about any seasoning coming off on the plate. I'm just going to put this, when I put this in the pan, I'm going to turn it over and put it in the pan. I don't have to worry about anything falling off. So we'll give that another round of the salt as well. Okay. So we'll go ahead and set this up and get it ready to cook. Okay. So in order to sear the perfect scallop, you need the right tools. Again, you have to find the right scallops, being the dry scallop, making sure that you are not buying the wet ones. Secondly, you have to have the right tools. You have to have a chef's pan. Now, I have a couple of these. This is not the pan to sear scallops in. You know what this pan is for? This pan is for pulling out on a Saturday or Sunday morning, scrambling some eggs. That's about it. Okay? Let's not fool ourselves. You need a professional chef pan in order to get a perfect sear. These things will evenly distribute the heat. They hold heat a lot better. I think I bought this one for about 16 bucks. So go out and get you a really, really good chef pan. They're not expensive. Go to TJ Maxx, go to Ross, go to Marshall's or one of the home little places that they sell this stuff. This was 16 bucks, literally. And this one is a Tefal, T-F-A-L, Tefal. All right, folks. So My oil is getting hot, and as you know, I have my trusty truffle oil. So the way to cook scallops is you start at 12 o'clock. And depending on how many you have, you just go clockwise. Of course, my big part of the scallop is showing now. So I'm gonna put those down. This is where I'm gonna start to turn. So scallops does not take a long time to cook. All you wanna do is you wanna get you a nice sear on the part that's going to be presented. And as you see, folks, that's what we're looking for. So we're gonna go ahead and turn these clockwise. Doesn't take long. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. This side that is down is not gonna be presented. So this is where we're gonna add some flavor. Gonna get our butter in there. We're gonna get our garlic in there. And then we're gonna get our thyme. Now this thyme is gonna start to popping as it gets hot. I'm gonna set these all up here. And I'm just gonna start basting the top of them to get that flavor. Okay, folks, and there you have it. We have successfully cooked our scallops. Okay, this is the finished product. We got 5 scallops, we got the Caribbean coconut yellow rice, and we are gonna get into this right now. So, I almost don't wanna eat it. But I'm doing this just for you, YouTube. Just for you. Go ahead and get some of this scallop. Some of this coconut curry sauce going in. This is absolutely phenomenal. I'm gonna dig into this rice, see what it's talking about too. YouTube, you gotta do this. If you are loving the content that is coming out of this channel, I want you to take the time to hit the like button, hit subscribe. We are going to continue bringing the flavor every single week. Until the next video,